Well, hello, welcome to a reading through of chapter 12 of Exodus from the Septuagint. I was asked if I would do this chapter from Exodus, and so I thought I would. I'm just going to read it through, translate, and make just a few comments on grammar as we go through. Sometimes I'll translate it as all, I will read it all out, sometimes I'll just read a bit and then translate. So it begins, Apende kurios pros merusen kai aron enge Aiguptu legon. Now, kurios by itself in the Septuagint, especially in the Pentateuch, generally refers to Yahweh in the original Hebrew. So I'll translate it thus. So Yahweh said to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, Legon, saying, Homein hutos humin arche menon. So this, now the main is a particle. You don't get too many of these particles in later Greek, but it's a very strong word. So this indeed, and you've got to understand, is the beginning of months humin for you. Protos esti humin, it is for you, first in the months of the year, to enantiu. So this is the first of the months among the months in the year. Leleison, imperative from laleo, so speak to all the synagogae. Now this, of course, by the time this is being translated, the people reading this or hearing it read would have thought of synagogue, which is where the word comes from. Of course, historically, at the time when this was written in the Hebrew, it simply meant a gathering. So speak to all the gathering of the sons of Israel, saying, Te decate, we've got to supply hemerai, on the 10th day, understood, of this month, let them take, this is a third person plural, aorist imperative from Lambano. And the ending here is etosan. It's one of the very few examples of where the actual ending, the actual accidents, is different in later Greek, is quite different from what you get in classical Greek. This is not the usual third person plural, which would be santone. So this is labetosan. So let them take, and then it goes from the plural to the singular, each man a sheep, kat oikus patrion, literally according to the houses. Now patria this is from patria, which means a paternal lineage, but here probably just the sense of family. So according to the houses of their families, each one a sheep according to his house. Ean oligistoi. Now oligistos means few in number. So if they might be, subjunctive from the verb to be, if those in the house might be few in number, hosti plus infinitive, so as not to be, so there are not enough for a sheep. In other words, there are not enough of them for a whole sheep. Sul lampsatai, now this is from Sul Lambano, which has a range of meanings in Greek. Here it's just the very basic meaning of he will take, and it's a future here, he will take with himself his neighbour, the one near to him. Kata arithmon, according to the numbering of souls, so according to the number of people. This is this is the future from Sul Lambano. The nu turns into a lambda before the corresponding lambda, and by this stage we're getting a mu in the future, which is coming out of the present, Lambano. Normally in classical Greek this mu is not there. Hekastos to arkun. Now this is an articulate participle here from archeo, it's neuter. So the verb is archeo. So each will make a reckoning in respect of what is sufficient for him in regard to the sheep. So each person will reckon up the numbers for himself in regard to the sheep. Probiton teleon arsen en arsion estai humin. So the sheep will be for you, teleon, well, it's perfect in the sense of without any blemishes, without any marks. Arsen, a male one, any alcyon, 1 year old. Apo tone arnon kai tone eriphone lampsesthi. And you will take, understand it, from the lambs and from the kids. This is from eriphos, a baby goat or kid. And it will be for you, dia teteremenon. This is a future, so it's the perfect passive participle here, from terio, to take care of. So that we have here a kind of future perfect. So it will have been taken care of by you, Heos, until the 14th day of this month, kai sphaxusin from spasdo, and you will kill, you will slaughter from spasdo, auto pan to plethos te synagoges. So you will slaughter, the subject here is the multitude of the gathering of the sons of Israel will slaughter all of it towards the evening. So perhaps it's all of them because it's all of the sheep here, but it's just out of pan. Kai lampsontai, and they will take from the blood. Kai thesusin, future from tithemi, they will place it epitone duo stathmon upon the two. Now the stathmos are the doorposts, the two vertical doorposts, and the flea is the lintel, the horizontal part of the door. So they will take from the blood and they will place it on the two doorposts and upon the lintel in the houses. We might say on the houses, or perhaps in the houses. In the houses in which, now an for just an, you see this commonly in the Septuagint and it comes into later Greek as well. So it's wherever, in whichever ones they might eat these things. Now the en autois is redundant, and this is a very, very, very common idiom in the Septuagint, and it falls over also into some of the New Testament writers, especially Mark, for example, in the New Testament. It's because in Hebrew the relative pronoun, or the sign indicating a relative pronoun, ashar, has no case or number. It just indicates this is a relative clause coming. So you have to pin it down by adding something extra in, whereas in Greek it's already there in the grammar. So this en autois is superfluous, you don't translate it here. So just do that again quickly. They will take from the blood and they will place it on the two doorposts and upon the lintel in the houses in whichever ones they might eat these things, might eat them. That is the sheep, the lambs. And kai phagontai, this is the future from esthio. Future is phagomai and then ephagon. It's an irregular verb. So they will eat the kriya, the flesh, on this night. Opta puri. Now opta, there is a verb optao, to roast. This is an adjective here, roasted. So, and it's in neuter plural, it's agreeing with the auta. So these things will be roasted in fire, kai adzuma, and they will eat these things roasted in fire, and adzuma, unleavened bread, and then epipikridone. Now this is from pikris, which is a bitter herb. You get the adjective pikros, meaning bitter. Pikris is a bitter herb. Slightly odd use of epi here with the genitive, and it's with the genitive as well. Perhaps it's upon, literally. We would say with in English. So they will eat it upon bitter herbs. And most translations say with bitter herbs. The Hebrew here is chal. And chal normally is translated by epi in the Septuagint, and that's what they've done here. It might have made a bit more sense if they'd either had epi with the dative, so meaning in addition to bitter herbs, or perhaps meta with the genitive, with, but because the Hebrew is chal, the translator's just written epi. We have to understand with or something here. Uk edes there, ap auton, omon, udi hepsemenon, en hudati. And you will not eat any raw meat from them, nor meat which is hepsemenon. This is a perfect passive participle. The verb is hepso, which means to boil. So nor boiled in water, but, now the A here is something like rather, I think, but rather roasted in fire. Kephalain, the head with the feet, dative plural from pous podos, the feet, and the endostiois. This is a word which seems to be a neologism. It doesn't appear to have it hasn't appeared any before this particular point. So it means the entrails, the endosthios. So it's ta endosthia so it's a neuter plural. This is a dative here. So ta endosthia, the entrails, probably a neologism. So it will be eaten roasted, the head with the feet and with the entrails. Kai apolapsity abautu, and you will not leave anything from it. Heos proi. Now, proi means early in classical Greek. Probably here means something like the morning after. So you will not leave any from it until the morning after. Kai ostiun sun trepsity abautu, and you will not break a bone from it. Now this is a very interesting little phrase here, because this is not in the Masoretic text. So one of two things has happened. Either this has been the text on which this was translated had this in it, or the Masoretic text has removed the equivalent of this. This may be, and there were complaints by the Jews about, or alternative is, of course, this has been added into the Septuagint at an early stage by Christian writers. It's not clear exactly what's happened here. However, the early Christians loved to pick verses out of the Septuagint and say, oh, this referred to Jesus. And so on the cross, of course, Jesus, the Gospels say that none of his bones will be broken. And as this is symbolic of the Passover, this is symbolic of Jesus' sacrifice, this expression, you will not break a bone from it, well, it's hard to know exactly what's happened with this. This may be a later Christian interpolation. It may have been removed from the Masoretic text because of Christianity. It may have been in an earlier version of the text that was different from the Masoretic text. We just don't know, but it's an interesting little verse there. Tardek katalepomena, the things having been left, ap autu, sorry, I've got to line this up, Heos proi until the morning after. So the things that were left from it until, I think it means until the morning after. Catakausity, this is a future from katakaio. The aorist of kaio is ekausa, and the future is kauso. It takes a different diphthong here. So it means you will completely burn up in fire. And that's the first 10 verses of chapter 12.